the visual novel. Ranked as a top 2 genre, Steam is filled to the brim with it, mostly because of its deep, interesting lore. This genre is the cope to male loneliness, the supermarket paperback for the right-handed XY chromosome individual. But even though most people might think it's shallow, these games are not enjoyed only because of their deep cultural lore. No, there is this great aspect to most visual novels, that no matter how dire or mentally deranged the individual portrayed in the story is, our inner Unga Bunga knows one thing: I can save her. Now, as I was looking for a new project to pursue, and since I needed something to silence my inner voices, do more, I said, fuck it. I have no talent, this sounds easy, I can probably make a visual novel for you guys to play in 12 hours. Alright, step 1. Big animate a savable female specimen. Now, since I am clearly unequipped to model anything, let alone in 12 hours, I initially decided to let the Unity Asset Store do my heavy lifting for me, but finding a character with decent plot devices for free was proving to be difficult. I first tried 3D characters, and my god, the horror. I think we all know what these models are used for. I then scoured the internet for hours, which I didn't want to count towards the time, but I had to. So as I started sweating entering hour 3, a call had to be made. Even though it's not what I had initially intended, after a few sweaty hours, I had attained myself a female. And then I decided I hated it. 90% of game development is regretting decisions. Anyway, I realized it would require some effort from my end. So, screw the Unity Asset Store. I frustratingly modeled some decent plot devices. Then I found some hair and, well, you've all met Bob, my previous impeccable masterpiece of art, but let me introduce you to Betty. This took literally an hour to cobble together, and I still believe it was the most well-spent hour so far. Listen to this.
Okay, I can do this. Oh no.
So next, I needed a background, a location for the plot to happen, and Betty to thrive in. I was already running quite low on time, and I don't have any money to buy something cool because Evil Bob hasn't been released to the world yet. So instead, I cheated. Mr. GPT, please help me out. The idea was a bar for a setting, since the plot would be astonishingly large, well, the actual plot at least.
That's quite big.
It should suffice. This brought me to the second most important part of the visual novel, after the female specimen, which is the actual novel part. Now this came with 2 problems. Problem 1 is having text actually appear in the video game. So, after implementing Betty and my background, I created a place for my text to appear in. It was time for me and my good friend Visual Studio to do some actual programming. I created a dialogue system that would allow me to have dialogue appear on the screen that I wrote and animate on the screen through this little plugin. On top of this, I made it so that different characters would have different styles of text appear on the screen. Then, I required choices to be possible. Added an animation that would enter Betty into the scene. Added some more checks and tweaks that I could do to every single element on the screen, and then, you guessed it, hating it all and refactoring 90% of it. Yay! Remember, game development is 90% regretting your decisions. I have all the time in the world anyway. I'm halfway through my time at this point. This refactor allowed me more visuals, better edge case handling, so that the dialogue would always continue and not just shit itself and making the game crash and burn in a minute, and unfortunately, absolutely no way to skip this fucking typewriter effect.
No, it doesn't skip.
I wanted this to be able to just suddenly appear on the screen when you press the button, but somehow it refused to work. So, after wasting multiple hours on this, I decided I needed a change of pace. Which led me to problem 2, my ability to actually write.
It's pretty difficult to put into words how disgusted I am, how depressed I am.
I wanted the writing to be somewhat self-aware, and I think I had a good idea of where I wanted to take it. However, I had to take some shortcuts. This meant that I used Inkle. a nice convenient way to organize my branching dialogue. In a normal setting, you write, do some editing, ensure the story flows and catches all edge cases, but you know, I have 12 hours, so enjoy my spelling mistakes. It's all part of the value proposition of this game. To get some sort of plan, I had 3 potential ideas for the first day. This would then lead into some other options that would be the ending. In the middle of writing, I realized I have no idea where the story would go. I mean, I knew it would have to be about saving or getting the girl, but I had no internal drama for the girl herself. And how could there be any? Look at her. Betty is perfect. What could her drama be? So yeah, let's just all say it together this time. 90% of game development is regretting decisions. I went back to change a bunch of stuff. Now the tone of the story no longer matches the funny visuals. But I don't care. Go feel some things, I guess. I did my best to write something compelling. Then there are a few big problems with writing in general. Firstly, it is incredibly boring to record. Like, literally nothing happens except this. And these noises.
Okay. This is gonna suck.
Secondly, it takes a lot of time because I wrote. Wait, this is boring to watch. Bob, do a dance. Because I wrote and fucking wrote. Originally, I wanted to go with this structure, but as I wrote, I realized I'm an idiot, and that's an insane amount of writing, so I cut it down to this, which was still way too much, but I tried to push through.
Fuck me, this is trash. Nope.
I did this until I had a full loop of a story with multiple endings. Just 2 endings. But it's fine. After I was done writing, I had literally a full hour left. With this, I decided to write my own typewriter because I hated the freaking fact that this was unskippable. And trust me, I know you all would have hated it too, because we all suffer from brain rot due to shorts and hyper editing, which I definitely don't use at all. Then, in the last 15 minutes I added effects for transitions, messed around with scene loading, and gave the game a proper ending. We have ourselves the ultimate visual novel, starring Betty and a deep cultural story. I really hope you enjoyed this suffer train. And the coolest thing about this is, you can play the game. It's uploaded to itch.io and the link is in the description. If you like this, give me some love with a little sub. And who knows, maybe Bob will come see the light of day. Thank you so much for watching.